Hello everyone, welcome back to another vlog. Today I'm headed to Mumbai and I'm a little worked up and already quite exhausted. Worked up because I'm going for my simulator checks and exhausted because I haven't had a proper night's sleep and I got up around 3 am in the morning. Main reason for me to be already exhausted is it's the holy month of Ramadan and whenever I'm not flying I prefer to observe my fastings. And speaking about simulators, there was so much for me to study and revise because of which I had a pretty late night. And yes, you heard it right, there's so much to study, be it a regular flight or a simulator check. And trust me guys, the situation becomes more tight and exhausting, especially if your simulator session falls during the holy month of Ramadan, during which we have some additional rituals to be followed like fasting and lengthy prayers. And to make things worse, you really had it if you have a session around 3 or 4 am in the morning. Well, I'm pretty sure that you all would agree about this common thought among civilians thinking that as pilots there's nothing much to study as the autopilot does everything. Let me tell you today, there's lots and lots to study and you keep studying till you retire. Reason being, new technology keeps evolving every day and whatever we study needs to be applied practically to the T, and let me explain this with an analogy. Let's say if I am flying across the North Atlantic Ocean, which is one among the busiest airspace in the world, operating a flight to New York or Chicago, and God forbid, if I have an engine failure, my procedure as on today dictates me to turn right by 30 degrees, follow a parallel track of about 5 nautical miles, only then commence my descent. Trust me guys, this procedure needs to be followed exactly the way it has been prescribed. Even a minor change would be quite disastrous as the airspace is quite congested. Imagine me operating the same route after 5 years from now without being updated with the latest procedures and following this old procedure. Unthinkable, right? This is why it becomes more significant to update yourself with latest procedures in aviation, unlike any other job. As a matter of fact, every part of the world has a different procedure which keeps constantly changing, and as a pilot you need to know it like a back of your hand. As far as the engine failure is concerned, which I was talking about, it seldom or never happens throughout your career. Nevertheless, you need to be prepared as it could happen. And it's rightly said, hope for the best and be prepared for the worst. And this is where exactly simulator training sessions become significant, during which we keep revising and practicing all the procedures that are required to handle abnormal situations. Not only abnormal, we also refresh our normal procedures which we carry out during each and every flight, making sure that we don't overlook things. Now let me explain you what a simulator is, what a simulator session is, what are the different stages in it, and how a simulator session is conducted, and how we pilots are being evaluated during the session, and what are the consequences post-evaluation. In simple words, a flight simulator is an exact replica of the cockpit mounted over 6 hydraulic pistons moving about all 3 XYZ axes. This is exactly how a simulator looks, and 2 people are trained per session, and the general combination is captain and a first officer. The captain and the first officer, who are supposed to be trained and evaluated, take their respective seats exactly the way they do in the cockpit. And the person who is supposed to train and evaluate you sits behind with his master control, simulating different abnormal situations. And this is how exactly it looks from outside when an abnormal situation is being handled, and from inside when an engine fire is simulated on the takeoff run.
Stop.
Check for control. Speed brakes up.
Check.
Reverse is normal.
Check.
VOS 12 with stopping. Request fire service. 60 knots.
Every session is about 2 to 4 hours, and in general, we have 2 sessions every 6 months. In general, the first session is your refresher, during which you practice all the abnormalities and you prepare yourself for the test the next day. This session is your pilot proficiency test, during which you are strictly evaluated. After this session, a debriefing session is conducted for about an hour, during which the pilots are debriefed and the final reports based on their performance is filled. The results are declared immediately, and any case of failure is taken off the duty and sent back to training. Once his training is completed successfully, he is being re-evaluated in a similar manner and he is being released online to perform his pilot duties. And during training, your salary is drastically reduced as you're not being utilized as a line pilot. To sum it up, it's a big day for every pilot in his career and he is more or less stressed. And now you know why we as pilots need to study so much and keep ourselves updated, as this drill keeps repeating every 6 months. Apart from this, we are also being evaluated every year real time as we operate a flight from point A to point B. To top it up again, annually we are also being evaluated for our theoretical knowledge over a period of 5 days with similar consequences. And this process of evaluation keeps repeating itself till the time you retire, failing which you cannot exercise the privileges of a commercial pilot. Every airline has a specific crew contract with different hotels all across the globe, and this time my stay was at Taj Lands Inn. The room and the washroom were quite spacious, especially the view from the room was breathtaking as it was overlooking the ceiling. Being put up at one of the prime locations, that too next to Shah Rukh Khan's plush bungalow, I wanted to venture out but was way too tired. So the plan was to unwind, rest as much as I could and run through my reading material so that I can be well prepared for my simulator check the next morning. After having rested well, I ordered a wholesome meal for myself as it was time for me to break my fast. The meal was looking quite appetizing and the portion was just right and I couldn't wait to taste it. Finally, it was time and I broke my fast after a short prayer. And behind me is the absolutely breathtaking view of the ceiling which I was talking about a while ago. As not to upset my stomach, I generally prefer breaking my fast with a liter of water blended with electrol, concentrate of lemon and honey. After having my main course, I quickly passed out as my session was around 4 AM the next morning. After having rested well, I got up like a ghost around 2 AM in the morning but fully charged to face the big day. As my reporting was roughly about an hour before my session, I quickly got ready without wasting any time, slyly sneaked out of the room like a mouse as not to disturb anyone sleeping. It was around 35 minutes past 2 AM in the morning and I felt as if I am the only person in the whole universe working at this time. As it was pretty early in the morning, I started calling up my driver. With no response, I desperately started looking for him. The drive was barely for about 10 to 15 minutes, and that too at this time I was glad to see him equally fresh as I am. Finally, it's time for me to put in my knowledge, hard work and skill in action. The session got over in about 4 hours, during which 2 hours I was acting as a captain and 2 hours as a first officer. After the session, we had a debriefing session for about an hour, and finally, with a sense of relief, completely exhausted and fully famished, I reached the hotel about 11 AM. So what do you guys think how my session went? Did I clear my pilot proficiency test? Do let me know in the comment section. As I was entering the room, I just got a notification on my phone stating my schedule to operate a London flight next day morning. And this flight is scheduled to depart around 6:15 in the morning and I'm supposed to be at the airport around 5. Whenever I am on an official duty, be it simulator duty or flight duty, I avoid fasting, so I decided to treat myself with a wholesome meal. For me, the portion was slightly on the higher side, but it was to die for. Somehow I managed to finish the entire platter and I wanted to call it a day a little early as I had an early morning departure the next day. After having completed my meal, I realized that I have stuffed myself, so I decided to stroll a bit. The entitlement during my stay was all 3 meals, but this meal was so heavy I almost skipped my dinner. And if you love food and if you want to order anything over and above your entitlement, you may do so from the a la carte, which comes with a good discount of about 20%. It was almost 8 p.m. and after completing my packing and fixing my uniform, I decided to hit the bed. It was around 3:30 a.m. in the morning. Fully rested and fully charged, I started getting ready for my flight. The gentleman from the concierge was already there to pick up my luggage, unlike United States and Europe where you have to drag your luggage by yourself. After thoroughly checking my room for any misplaced items, I was on my way to the airport. I'll see you all in the next one. Till then, stay blessed. Bye-bye.